am so excited for this interview. Why? Because I got my girl.
Hey, y'all. What's going on? I'm here with hanging out with Dr. LaTracy. Listen, with Black Authors Rock, y'all don't even understand what an honor it is. Let me do what I normally do. Good
Do it.
morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching this fabulous conversation around the world. I am Dee Bowden. I'm the author of the fabulous book Collect the Cash. The sale is not complete until the money is in the bank. Back to you,
Ooh,
Dr. Tracy. You better come on here. I ain't playing with
yes,
y'all. I ain't playing with y'all.
yes. I tell my clients every day, if you do not have a ping, a deposit, a something into your account every single day, what are you doing? They can't tell me. Even as authors, they don't believe that they're supposed to make the money. So
Mhm.
I'm so glad that you're here so that you can set the record straight.
Yes.
Yes, yes, yes. And see, you guys don't know, Miss D has been to Biloxi. And so for her books to be in the Black Authors Rock bookstore, yes, yes, yes. He's like, look, this is it. We own base right here. Let's make it happen.
On base. We are officially on base. I'm in the
Yes,
bookstore. I'm in
yes.
two bookstores.
You are actually in 3 bookstores.
What? Oh,
Yes,
that's
we
a
have.
surprise. I knew about two. I got a blessing. Come on, come through, God. That's what I'm talking about. God
Yes,
is so dope. Come through.
yes, yes, he is. See, look, and then I had to wear the shirt to match it for
Yes.
today. You know, I love supporting other brands as well. So, Miss, tell them who you are and why you have decided to come and grace us with your presence today.
Well, first of all, let me say, Dr. LaTracy, thank you so very much for the opportunity to be a part of Black Authors Rock. That's first. You know, I have my good home training still has to show up, even with all this gray. I still got to come through with the good home training and say thank you. So we start there. I am Dee Bowden. I am originally from Boston. I now live in Maryland. I have lived in Maryland for 15 years. Fun facts about me: I love Ferris wheels, smooth jazz, and great red and white wines. Yes.
Yes.
But the Ferris wheel is my thing. You want to make take me over the moon? Let's go on the Ferris wheel. Right? People are like, are you serious? I'm like, very serious. Love Ferris wheels.
I'm,
Absolutely love
I'm,
them. I know,
I'm
and I,
so
I didn't I
very.
didn't find one when I was in Biloxi. I was like, man, I didn't know. I don't think I saw one, but I was on the Gulf, which is pretty cool. The Gulf was beautiful, and I was there for the Success Women's Conference, which is what brought me there. Current Cherry. That's how I got there.
Yeah.
So why people are asking me like, okay, D, so collect the cash, really?
Hmm.
What's the backstory? So it goes like this. What had happened was
Yes. Tell the people. Tell the people what had happened.
so what had happened was about 15 years ago, I used to work for a small IT company outside of Boston, where I'm from. You know how it is when you get hired for a company, they tell you, welcome aboard, here's your cubicle, here's your box, and here's your plan. So I got to my cubicle, I sat down, and they said, listen, we hired you because it says on your resume, you know how to collect money. I said, listen, you know how we do. I do all right. I do all
Right.
right. I do all right. I do all right. They're like, well, look here. We got $8 million in outstanding receivables, which means that they sold IT services, computers, software licenses, etc. We sold $8 million worth of all that material. We ain't been paid. What? That's what I said. It was a Scooby Doo moment. What?
Right. Right. How you gonna have that much money and not get
Are
paid?
you
Okay.
serious? They're like, oh yeah, we serious. Here's your cubicle. Here's your plant. Here's your list of accounts. You need to get to work. Now I'm a believer. So my part of the story goes like this. Hey God, yes, D, how are you? You know what, God? Overall, I'm really good. But listen, your word says if you lack wisdom, you need to ask me. And if you have not, because you ask not. Listen here, God. I need a clue or a cue on how I'm supposed to handle $8 million worth of outstanding accounts, money that's owed to this company, because I don't know what had happened was. So when I got quiet, what came up was that business to business collections, which is the business I'm in, is three things. It's problem solving, number one, it's customer service, number two, and my secret sauce is gratitude, which is what you see above my head.
Hmm.
So when I got quiet, I was like, oh, I got problems. $8 million worth of problems.
Hmm.
Got to figure out what had happened was.
Right.
Why did you sell them all this, sell them all these software licenses, etc., and nobody paid you?
Right.
Customer service. I was an employee. I worked for the company, so you got to do customer service. You got to
Mhm.
find out. So what happened? What was the story? What happened? And then I figured out that if I do gratitude, which is basically saying thank you to the person who took my phone call, the person who researched the invoices, and then the person who cut the check, when I
Right.
started doing that on a regular basis, listen, Dr. Tracy, I did $6 million in 60 days while working part time. We started with 8. I went to God and did my short prayer, got my clue, 3 things: problem solving, customer service, gratitude. I recovered $6 million in 60 days while working part time. Now, everybody goes, "Oh my gosh, that's amazing," and it is. But here's where the story. This is why Collect the Cash really exists. Um, 2 months before Christmas, the CEO of the company says, "Listen, we need to have a chat." Now, I'm thinking because I done collected all this money with my other coworkers, we about to get a bonus. Nah,
No.
they come downstairs. He says, "Listen, I want to thank everybody that's across sales, contracts, order fulfillment, invoicing, and my lane, collections, accounts receivable. Thank you all for what you've done. We've made an executive decision. We're closing the company. You got 30 minutes to go get your box and that same plant you came up in here with and leave the building 2 months before Christmas." That
Mhm.
part.
Yeah.
I stand and I'm like, "Are you kidding?" "No, you got
Mhm.
to go. Get your stuff. We out. We done."
Mhm.
So I leave the building. I am distraught is probably the nicest word I can come up with right now because I'm
Right. Right.
what
Mhm.
in the LL Cool J just happened up in here? Are you serious? They're like, "No, for real." 100 people lost their jobs 2 months before Christmas. After I recovered from all my emotions, which if you've ever lost a job, you go through the emotional roller coaster. Then you finally
Right.
get on the other side of it. I was like, how did this happen? Number one, how did a company neglect that much money? Like, how did they forget to collect $8 million?
Right.
Secondly, how did you decide that after because it wasn't just me, because I'm part of a collections team. I did $6 million, but my whole team collected a lot of money. We all collect all this money, and y'all decide, okay, now y'all brought all this money in, we out, and we just
Mhm.
cut everybody 2 months before Christmas. I looked at that and I was like, okay, there were some disconnects,
Mhm.
sales, contracts, etc. And I said, okay, I don't know at this point, I didn't know then what I know today, which is that this situation happens more often than we know. It's only because of the media and newspapers and magazines that you get to hear about it. But there are a ton of companies that go through this. And I was like, okay, God, show me how I can take what I like to do, which is collect money on the business side, and how can I teach business owners the importance of tracking your accounts, number one, and number two, not neglecting this, and then number three, how do you do customer service, and then how you do gratitude. So this story is a personal story. Having just watched all these major companies last year through COVID
Mhm.
close, y'all saw them. You saw the Lord and Taylors and the Pier Ones and the Kmart's and etc. Those were all small businesses that scaled. And
Right.
obviously, there were lots of things that went wrong that they made the executive decision to close the company. And I kept looking at this going, I wonder how many of them had contracts with vendors that vendors supplied them products and services, and they billed them, and then they couldn't pay them. And I kept seeing this pattern over and over and over again. I'm like, okay, God, show me how I can take my story and create something. And so Collect the Cash came out of my personal journey, and then me wanting to make a difference, and me wanting to create a legacy, because this is the part of business, excuse me, that most people don't talk about. Everybody talks about sales and marketing and social media and all this beautiful stuff. But here's the thing: if you don't have a sale on the front end, you don't deliver a product or service, and you don't bill for it, and you don't get paid, you don't really have a business. The best
Mhm.
example I can give you is your cell phone. Everybody who's listening, whether you're team iPhone or team Android, it goes like this. You went into the store. Welcome to whatever store it is, Dr. LaTracy. Oh, they take your driver's license and they scan it to confirm it's you. Then they
Mhm.
say, you're eligible for an upgrade. Translation, sale. That's the
Fail.
first thing that happens.
Mhm.
Second, they take the back of your phone. Once you pick out your phone, they start the sales process. They scan the back of the phone because they're doing inventory, order fulfillment. Then they have a contract with you, and then you tell them, okay, I'm either going to buy the phone outright or I'm going to pay an X amount of dollars or every single month. Then they invoice you, which is your bill, because they
Yep.
bill you. So you have sales, you got a contract for however many months it is, order fulfillment. Then they invoice you, which is accounts payable in the corporate world, but basically it's invoicing everybody else. You get your bill,
Mm-hmm.
and then accounts receivable or collections is me. Or they got this magic button. If you don't pay them, they're gonna disconnect your service. There's
Right.
business. That's
Yes.
what happens all the time. And so I kept looking at this pattern and wondering how come companies were going through all this. They were selling products and services, but they weren't getting paid
Mm-hmm.
because they didn't want to ask the customer for the money. They didn't want to ruffle the feathers. They didn't want to do anything. And I'm like, well, let me teach you all what I've been able to do. So not only have I collected $6 million in 60 days for a company that eventually, unfortunately, went out of business, I've collected $7.5 million for a large government agency. I do that on the regular.
Mm.
Um, and I decided that what I can do is I can teach business owners how to track their accounts, how to develop the skill of problem solving, customer service, and gratitude. And then prayerfully, if you implement what I teach you, you won't have this problem. Because my goal is to stop what I just watched happen for a whole year. Now, there were companies that did really, really well last year, but there were a whole lot of companies, major companies, that lost money, lost sales, and eventually closed. My mission is to teach you how to not have to go out of business. And
Right.
then if you do have to lose money, you make an executive decision that, okay, you know what, this customer is not worth the headache. I'm gonna cut my losses. I'm gonna keep it moving. But
Mm-hmm.
more likely than not, you'll learn how to make sure your sales go well, your contracts go well. You provide excellent customer service. You thank your customer for being your customer, which is like, are you serious? Yeah,
Yes.
that part.
Because they
Because
didn't
here's the
have
thing,
to.
you have to every holiday season, particularly Thanksgiving and Christmas. If you have a subscription to whatever, they usually send you a thank you a holiday card. Dear Dr. Tracy, thank you so much for being our customer. We wish you and your family, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, season's greetings, whatever the political correct term is. Anyway, and then we want to thank you for being our customer in 2021. What are they doing? Customer service. They're trying to outbeat the competition to make sure that they stay top of mind with you, so that you continue to use them. That's customer service. Whether you sell wigs, whether you do hair, whether you cut nails, I don't care what you do. You're always solving a problem, because that's what business is. Business solves problems.
Mm-hmm.
Then you do customer service. You want to make sure that the customer has a great experience, because in these social media streets, it takes 30 seconds for somebody to go live, just like we live right now. Start hollering. Well, I was talking to Dr. Tracy. Let me tell you, I was dealing with Black Office Rock and and before
Yeah.
I can finish, everything you done built is destroyed, and now you got to go do damage control to get to discredit what I just, or correct what I just said, even though it's not true. Let me clarify, y'all. This is an example. Let me know, because you know how people be like, I heard Dee say, like, wait a minute.
Right.
I said,
Right.
this is an example, y'all.
Mm-hmm.
Please be clear. It's an example. My point is that, unfortunately, and the world that we live in today, people don't even understand that when you launch a business, and when you're working through the process, you're building a brand, you're building a reputation, you're building something. And if something goes left, most people don't even give you the grace to fix it.
Say
They're
that.
hollering. They get their phone, and you're like, goodness
They could have
gracious,
just
can you
come.
even give me a chance to address the issue? Can I offer you something? Can I? No, I'm going on social media. I'm going to go on this rant and destroy you.
Mm-hmm.
Versus, can we have an intelligent conversation and find out what had happened was, and how can I fix it? The companies that we admire so much over time is because they have learned the art and science of customer service. They offer you things. They do returns, give you a credit. Let me give you an extra whatever. They want to make sure that you don't go on the rant. And if you have to go on the rant, it's like, and that's why they do the follow-ups with the surveys. How was your customer experience? Is there anything we could do better? Whatever. They're working to make sure that their customer experience goes well, so that you will stay as a customer, number one. Number two, so you don't ruin their reputation. And that's whether you're a solopreneur or a big corporation, or all in between. All of those principles are part of how business really works. And when people learn that part, you won't be so quick to rip somebody apart. You'll realize that they're human just like you. They're doing the best they can, and they're trying to solve your problem. And it's something called grace that I think most people have really forgotten about that part. Anyway, I know
Yes.
I done talked a lot, but here you go.
No, no, I'm here for all this. You can keep going. This is your interview. I'm just here. Just I'm just here. I can get off the screen. Look. You take over.
No,
I am.
no, no. We're gonna have a dialogue because you gotta tell the people
Look,
why you invited me into Black Authors Rock. You gotta tell that part.
listen.
Listen,
Okay.
yeah, that part.
Right. Okay. So we have been out here as great influencers, both Dee and I, out here working with some of the big wigs. We are the big wigs in the eyes of a whole lot of folks. But we are like, no, 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 they're big wigs. Wow, look. But we are who we are. And last year, in the middle of COVID, people they disgraced Black Authors Rock. They talked about me like a dog. I didn't get I didn't even get the opportunity to be like, well, wait, let me fix it. Because we had an event that was scheduled with Essence. And Essence, being a huge influencer, canceled the event. And they did everything virtually. Well, we did too, but they were upset that we were not going to New Orleans in the middle of these COVID streets. And I'm like, wait, I can't give you what I can get. The whole mayor, the governor, everybody shut the whole state down in Louisiana. We couldn't even go in. My child lived in Louisiana and I couldn't even go, but they did not care. They said Black Authors Rock is this, and this. And then they went back, even though the contract states non-refundable, yet transferable. They went back and they were like, I'm doing this charge back. Woo, woo, woo. I don't care. And then I'm going to talk bad about them. What? You got money back and then you still talking. So I said all that to say, in business, you touched on a whole lot because as an author, people don't realize, even as a writer and an author, you have a responsibility to have all of these things in order. You want people to purchase your book. You want that because you just didn't write your book for it to sit on the shelf. And you have to have invoices or some sort of a payment or a merchant that you get the money from. And you would hate for someone to get your book or your product or your shirt and say, oh, nope, I'm not going to pay you. Then you're going to have to call Dee to help you get your money back. But then, but then people don't have the systems in place because they didn't know that they needed to either have the systems in place because they weren't a part of Black Authors Rock, because we teach that in Black Authors Rock is the system. And so when I saw you out here in these influence streets, because you have done work well before this book out here to get your name out there, to be known, to be an amazing ambassador. You not only support your own brand, but you support the brands of others. People, I'm all over the place now, but I believe that people need to know what you do well beyond just your book. Mm-hmm. What can you tell authors that would help them when they're just getting started?
Oh, first of all, I will tell you, as an author, number one, please take a class. Step one, take a class. So the other part, so the part of the Collect the Cash, the story of how Collect the Cash, there's the story of me working for this company and what had happened was, or why I decided to write the story. Then there was me watching my writing teacher do Facebook Lives, and she kept saying, "Oh, you can write a book in 90 days or less." And I'm like, "Yeah, right." But she was like, "No, for real, you can." And I'm like, so I kept watching her show up and do these lives and do these lives and do these lives. So finally she said, "Okay, I'm gonna have a webinar and I'm gonna introduce to you, the write your book, build your brand."
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I went through watched the lives. I went to the webinar. I clicked the link. I scheduled a call with her and had a bunch of questions. I know she was like, "My goodness, you got questions." Like, yep. This
Yeah.
is my coins up in here. I need to know. I didn't understand. So
Yes.
I would tell you, take a class. So I took her class. And before, and it's so funny because she actually did, after the book came out, she did a great interview with me and we talked about the whole process because I played double dutch with her for a minute. I was like, I ain't sure about this. I don't know you. I keep seeing you on this screen, and look, I'm a little older, so I got questions. So I had a bunch of questions. So we played double dutch. But I would tell you as an author, definitely take a class. Number one. Number two, you need a writing coach.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely need a writing coach because even though you might be brilliant at your story isn't for you. You have to figure out who are you writing to.
Right.
That part. And then you have to embrace the fact that your book is now a business, which means you need to have like a business checking account. You need to have, set up the business so you can track your sales, from a business perspective. On top of that, you need a writing class, you need a writing coach, you need to understand the business of publishing from, the cover being created, whether if you deal with they call it indie publisher,
Mm-hmm.
do you get all your royalties? Do you all the money that you make? Do you get to keep it, or are they taking a part of it? And what's going on with that part? Um, who's getting the ISBN number? Are they getting it? Are you getting it? What are they, how are they going to actually put you through the process in terms of the book cover, the editing,
Mm-hmm.
um, that getting the ISBN number. Is it going to be going through Ingram Sparks? Are they distributing it through Ingram Sparks? How many, what happens if your cover doesn't come back the way you thought it was in, and how many edits do you get before you get the cover right? There's all these things. And then you have to be prepared, depending upon what your story is, for the emotional investment of time.
Mm-hmm.
That part. That part. Because you can say, and because we joke about these social media streets, everybody's out here. Oh yeah, my gosh, I had one of my good friends hollering. I was like, man, I need to come up with an anthology. My dad going self. I need an anthology on dogs or cats or squirrels or something because I had her hollering. I said, man,
Yes.
everybody's got an anthology. And I was joking, I was being funny, but I was like, man, I said, that seems to be the racket. I said, well, maybe I'll sit still and get me a story of, and find somebody who's had some trauma and some drama, and let me put a different spin on it. I'm gonna have the dog, the cat, and the squirrel anthology, and we gonna talk about what happened to your dog, your cat, or your squirrel. She was like, D, you were so funny. But no, because seriously, all I saw was all these anthologies of people that have had all this trauma. I was like, okay, is there anybody else that talks about anything else other than that part? Because I'm like, okay, but I saw that. But I would tell you as a writer, seriously, please take a course. Please take a writing course. Definitely get yourself a writing coach. You have to understand that becoming an author is one part of this entire business, because
Yes.
you have to learn how to sell, you have to learn how to market, you have to learn how to do interviews. um, you are responsible for all of the content. You also have to make sure you file your copyright to protect your work. um, what else? And then there's the, how do who's your target audience, who are you writing the book for, why are you writing the book? It ain't just I dream of Jenny, I'm gonna write a book. Okay, who are you writing it for? What's the
Mm-hmm.
purpose? Like, so when I decided to write my book, when I first started my book, I started out with the thought, okay, I'm just gonna tell my story. That's how it started. And then through the course, my teacher kept saying, D, you you recover money for a living. You have a system, you have a process,
Mm-hmm.
you've collected all these millions of dollars. You can teach business owners how to win in this area of business that a lot of them don't like to talk about, neglected, etc. And she kept reinforcing that comment until I finally said yes. And then we had to reshape my story from becoming, I work for this company, yes, I lost my job, etc., versus to, no, I'm going to teach you how to collect your cash. The sale is not complete until the money's in the bank, and here's why. And you must collect it first, and here's why. Here are the principles. This is the process. And then to talk about the mindset, because
Mindset.
this is whole thing about
Mm-hmm.
mindset. And so I had to join the mindset game. I'm like, okay. Well, she's like, well, let's talk about this mindset thing. I said, oh, I got it. So my mindset thing is actually called the collection zone, but you got to buy the book to learn about it.
Yes, 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 yes. Now you know you can find this book at the Black Authors Rock bookstores with an S, as well as on Amazon or with Misty. So,
Yeah, Richard, let me go ahead and give you the link. So if you want an autographed copy from me, please go to www.collectthecash.biz/book. That's www.collectthecash.biz/book. That's for your autographed copy from me. Otherwise, you can go to Amazon, Books a Million, Target, Walmart, and Barnes and Nobles, and of course, Black Authors Rock Bookstore.
mhm. All right. So we have collectthecash.biz.
/book. You got to put the
Oh,
/book.
wait,
And that
wait
way,
1 second. Let's pull it off. Oh, oh, let's do it.
yeah.
You
So
know,
it's
see,
Yeah, so it's collectthecash.biz/book. That takes them directly to where they can buy it directly from me.
cool.
There you go.
See,
Boom. There you go.
see,
Got it.
I
Yeah.
love it. See, so that's how you get the autograph copy because you know D is famous out here in these streets. You know, so you need look. I people used to think that I was um, just all about taking pictures because I was one of the first to do an anthology over 10 years ago, and I was working with Cheryl Woods and you know Cherie and you know and April and all of them, and they were like, "Oh, why are you taking all these pictures?" And I said, "Because you guys may not know who these people are now, but I
Mhm.
know where we're going." Because we're about to elevate and we're elevating in these streets. And so when we were taking pictures back then,
Yes.
and
Yes.
it's look those pictures, and you get their autographs. You know,
Hmm.
I used to laugh at Delmar Johnson. And I said, let me get your autograph every time I see her. And she's like, why do you do that? And I said, girl, listen, you about to make some money in these streets. So that means
Hmm.
I need your autograph now.
Right.
So you can't act funny and be like, oh, I don't know her.
Right.
I
Be
know
like,
you.
look here. See, let me show. Let me show you.
You signed it on this day. Because people don't understand the power of networking. And so even though we have known each other in these social media streets, when we seen each other in Biloxi, we were like,
I know.
like, girl, look, we're here. Because people don't understand the power of network because network can actually increase your net
Net
worth.
worth. Oh my gosh, yeah. It's so interesting because another piece about how Collect the Cash, came about is actually now she's Dr. Cheryl Wood, but she was Cheryl Wood when I met her.
Right.
Cheryl, let me do it properly. Now she's Dr. Cheryl Wood. So, but Dr. Cheryl Wood is part of how Collect the Cash came to be about because 2 years ago she had me as a guest on her radio show
Mm-hmm.
telling my story, the same story I just told about me working for the company, collecting the money
Yeah.
and all the principles. And she was like, "Oh, I can endorse all of this because I have had people not pay me, et cetera, et cetera." So we had that whole conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Then she had an anthology called Entrepreneur's Elevation.
Right.
I'm sorry, Entrepreneurial
Yep.
Elevation. And she
Yep.
said, I need you to participate in this book because I need you to teach business owners this lesson. And
Mm-hmm.
so she was the one that opened up her platform to me, somebody who was not known in the social media streets like I am today. And she was
Right.
like, "Let me give you a spot." And so she did. And and I've of course already said thank you to her. Um, but it's like, but that's the thing I think people misunderstand is that when you're first getting started, when somebody gives you an opportunity, first of all, you need to be gracious and say thank you. That's the first part. That old school training really pays
Yes.
off.
Yes.
That
Yes, it
part, and
does.
then you use it to better yourself. I mean, I've gone on to do some amazing things, but I remember that it was me talking to her about collecting money, and she was like, "What do you do?" And I told her, and I told her how much money I collected. She was like, "What you do that? You roll like that?" Yeah,
Yeah.
that's how I roll. She was like, "For governments?" I said, "Yeah, for government agencies, corporations." And I started naming the places. She was like, "Are
Mm-hmm.
you serious?" I'm like, "Yeah." And I have my letter, getting recovering $7.5 million in a year for a government agency. She was like, "I never knew people could recover that kind of money." I'm like, "I've been doing this a long time, but now it's become this thing that people are like, well, can you teach us?" And thanks, and my writer's coach was Sheree Robin, who actually said, "D, you can teach us how
Mm-hmm.
to do this." And I'm grateful for her persistence that I wouldn't, because I was like, who wants to learn how to collect money? because most people when they hear collections, they think about the telephone bill, the car being repossessed, and I'm like, no, I'm not. That's consumer collections. I'm in business to business collections. So if you ever work for a corporation, there's accounts payable, which is billing. There's
Mm-hmm.
accounts receivable. That's me. That's my lane. And so she was like, but you can teach us like how to set up our systems, how to track everything, or what do we say so we're not making a fool out of ourselves. And I was like, okay. And so her persistence made me sit down and write the book and deal with my feelings. And I was like, I'm not sure this is really a story. And then she's like, trust the process, trust it. And that was her whole thing. Trust the process. Because I didn't know. Like I said, I played double dutch. I was like, I'm not sure I want to do this. And she's like, no, you're going to do this. I'm like, no, I'm not. Yeah, you are. And so we wouldn't be sitting here today if I hadn't done the work with her and then got a writing coach and then taken a class on publishing and what does that look like and what does it mean, how you take responsibility. And then, deciding that my story needed a stage and it needed to be heard and then to see it through to the end. And that's why we're here today. And now I'm a part of Black Authors Rock. I'm in the bookstore. What? And now I'm on the military base? What?
Yes. Look, now don't y'all get it twisted. When she found out about the opportunity to get her book on the Black Authors Rock bookstore and in our marketplace, I promise you, she said, I got questions. I like those type of people. And look, and it was a back and forth. We was, all right, let's, the good double dutch. And I love that because you need the assistance, but just don't jump into it because not every opportunity is a good opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
And it may not be a good opportunity for you. So with her doing business to business and her doing government contracts, for her to be on the military base, already exposed, that is an opportunity for her to have an open door to connect with other military bases. Just like that. And so with you having the connection, you never know why you're connected to someone. Mm-hmm. We met online. Yeah. I don't know what we were doing. We all out here.
You were doing a class. I came to your class.
Right. Yes. And we seen each other. And then in person, we're like, geez, let's we were ambassadors together for someone else's brand. For the Success Conference. Yes. And I mean, we even though we are influencers in our own lane, we were supporting someone else's brand.
Yes.
Right.
As an ambassador. Absolutely. Yep.
Yes. So you never know how doors are opening. And so it's funny because Kern met Dr. Cheryl back in 2015 at my Igniting the Fire conference.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Right here in Biloxi. And so that opened the door for Cheryl to not only connect with those that are down here on the Mississippi Gulf Coast, but to come back every year since then for different events and different conferences. And so don't knock a small beginning. Oh, yeah. A lot of people said, well, you're on the military base. I'm not. What? People on the military need a book?
Yeah, that part. And when you said that part, I was like, wow. I mean, this is like a full circle moment for me because I have been in my career as a government government contractor for a long time. And then when you said, Dee, your book is about money. Mm-hmm. You have no idea what financial person is going to grab this book and go, wait a minute, you talking about collecting money? Okay. Mm-hmm. And then I close out government contracts for a living. So think about it. And I've done this for the Coast Guard. I've dealt with the Navy, the Army.
Yes.
So let somebody find out. You women, you know how to close out contracts? You know how to get the money that's sitting on the books that hasn't been collected? I can do it like that. Are you serious? Can you come in and teach our people how to do it? Sure can. Can you do a government purchase card and pay my bill? Done. Let's go.
Right. And see, and then I look at it as a lot of people thought that COVID was negative. Yeah. COVID has been such a blessing because now you can teach these classes more virtually. Mm-hmm. And people are like, I'm still going to pay you what I would have paid you if you had came in person.
Right.
So if you have a book and you know how to create the brand, and if you don't, you need to become a member of Black Authors Rock so that you can get in there.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, man, the opportunities are just endless, and I love it because what we do at Black Authors Rock is we get the books in. And here's the process, because I love how Dee put that. It is a process to everything. So when people secure their slot, they send in the covers of their book cover, their bio, their synopsis. Why? Because we want to start the marketing process with you before you even book arrives. That's just it.
Yep.
And then when your book comes in, we're already scheduling the interview. And with that interview, we send those bios out not only to press releases on base, we send it out via our e-blast, our newsletters, our partners, our media partners, any events that we have. Like we have our second location. That's a way to teach a class, not only virtually, but also in person.
Mm-hmm.
The authors have an opportunity to teach those classes and
Okay.
get paid right there within Black Authors. I don't want to teach it all. Just let me be the vessel to bring the folks together. That's the apostolic anointing that's on my life. So
Okay.
I look, even though I'm licensed and ordained, I understand that it's not about being behind the pulpit. It's about being behind the laptop. And using
The laptop is the altar.
Yeah, right. There you go. You got to use what you have to get
Yeah,
to where
yeah,
you need to be. And I
exactly.
love that because it's the power of connection. And so with us having our launch coming up and people are coming in from all over the world, they're like, wait a minute, you're doing what? I'm like, I just saw that there was a problem,
And solve
created a solution.
it. Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And then I created the invoice.
Right. And then look and got and swiped left and got paid.
Yes,
That part.
yes. Yes, and so people need to understand it's all about investing and knowing where you need to invest. Because for me, I kept saying, "Oh, I can't sell." But then I connected with some heavy punchers, and they were like, "Mm-mm, you have to know how to sell if you're going to be in business.
Oh yeah.
And if
Yeah.
you don't, hire somebody else to do it."
Exactly. That part. All
Yeah.
all day. I tell you, I'm over the moon with this connection because I mean I when I started this journey, I had no idea where the doors that God was getting ready to open for me. I'm like, I just started with my story, and then I
Hmm.
took a class, and then I got a writing coach, and then I took another class, and and I've been learning things, and then so as this is going live, I just got picked up by the C-suite bookstore. Senior executives just picked up my book yesterday.
Love it.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
thank you. And now, and I mean now, so C-suites, so that senior executives, it's so I'm in. Listen, I'm in the same bookstore as Stedman Graham.
Yes.
That kind of exposure is what
Yes.
God has done. I'm like,
Oh
what?
yeah. He blows our mind. Yes.
Woo!
Yes. And it's because we're grateful.
You see
Because
what's above my head, don't you?
we're grateful. I had a call last night, and like you and I, we could go back and forth in email. It could be 10 o'clock at night. We responded. Right. And people are like, wait a minute, is this her? Is this the assistant? Or who is
Yeah.
this responding? And then someone called the business line about 9 o'clock, and I answered. And
Okay.
they were like, well, I spoke with Dr. LaTracy via email, and I just wanted to confirm. And I started laughing, and I said, this is Dr. LaTracy. And the young lady was like, oh my God, it's you. I was like, what? She said, you answered the phone. I said, sweet baby, it's 9 o'clock Central Standard Time. I
Right. Right.
was like, someone else could have answered, but, I saw the phone was ringing and nobody else had picked it up. So,
Right.
and she said, but you answered. And I said, yeah. And people don't understand that we can be in business and we can teach and we can be personable. And it's all about us just having grace
Yeah.
and mercy for the next person, because we've all been there. We've
Oh my
all been
God.
in that place.
That's such a beautiful thing, because I think people forget, and I think that's why, above my head, it says Ephesians 3:20, and it talks about gratitude, because those two pillars are everything for me. Like,
Mhm.
you know, connecting with you, being a part of Black Authors Rock. When you said, can you send me, because I really think you said, can you send $5? And you sent me a note and you said, hey, can you send 10? I'm like,
Don't you just love this technology when it works? I'm not sure what just happened, but yeah, I did. I sent her a message. Dee, can you hear me? I had sent her a message and I said, can you send 10? And she didn't even know why I had asked for 10. But I had asked for 10 because a lot of the authors did not know that we had just closed and secured our contract for the second location. And with us having the second location, that opened up more opportunities for them. All right. So I'm not sure what just happened, but do you guys see? Check this out. Collectthecash.biz. Boom. Yes.
sorry, y'all. Just had this my computer just shut down in the middle of this great conversation. I was like, wait a minute, what? So
No,
thank y'all for
no,
grace. Sorry about that, y'all.
no problem. I was telling them that yes, I did. I had told you just out the blue to send 10 books,
Yep.
but you didn't know that we had just secured the second location.
Oh wow, congratulations.
And thank you. But I can say congratulations to you because what God told me to do was whenever anyone sends in their books to remove my books from the bookstore.
Oh wow.
So even though I've written over 30 books, my books are being removed. Whenever anyone sends in their books and there's a space right there, remove it and put yours there. And so when you sent in your 10, it was not only for the first location, it was for the second. And so you never know what expansion. This word is expansion for the year. And I'm just like, okay, all right. Okay, Lord, I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't know how it's gonna happen. But it's not for me to know the what. It's just for me to say yes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so that's what we're going to do. We're going to say yes. And so I'm grateful that you took the opportunity to work with Black Authors Rock.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
I
I'm
know, and
excited.
I'm excited because I'm like, I'm on a military base, y'all. Y'all don't even understand. I was like, I didn't even. First of all, I didn't even. You don't know what you don't know. But here's the
Mhm.
cool thing. Well, all I've really known is to tell my story, that
Mhm.
part, and get the story into book form. So let me just show the good people so they can see.
Yes. Yes.
Can y'all see? That's it.
Woo! Yes. Y'all see how clean that book is.
Yeah.
And she has these amazing bookmarkers that's right along with it. Mhm.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
yes, yes.
Can't come, listen. We got to come correct. You got to come correct. Because I wanted
Yes.
people when they see the book be like, oh, I need that book. I need that book in my life.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yes.
that part.
And see, and people don't understand when they're in the bookstore, they have an opportunity to get their bookmarkers, their rack cards, their pens, any products, whatever they need to also be included in the bag. So whether a person buys your item today or not, they can look in their bag and say, "Oh, well, wait a minute, I didn't get to see this book. Hold on, let me go back." Or let me order this book online because here's their contact information and I can pick it up. So I love it. I love it. I love it. So, what would you like to leave the people with today? I know. I know.
we done already? Oh man, I'm like, wait,
I'm like, we're moving into 45 minutes. So I'm like, ooh, yes. And I want to be able to utilize this on the podcast and on
oh yeah,
YouTube and all of our platforms. But listen, y'all
yeah,
see that link below?
yep,
That's exactly what Dee did. She went to that link and she secured her spot.
yep.
So I know we're going to have another meeting, but another
Oh yeah,
interview because I believe that Dee can teach some classes within Black Authors Rock in the
oh yeah,
membership. Yeah, I can
yeah.
see I can see that happening.
Okay.
So
I'd be honored to. So yeah, we'll talk about it, and we'll schedule that and make that happen. So absolutely happy to. So yeah,
see, you
so
guys, you have to ask. You
yeah,
have to ask. And even though it wasn't a direct ask, it was like a, I think I want to ask. I think I want to ask. But I believe that everything that you've said in this interview has been essential for authors. And so whether you are just starting off as an author or you have been in this game for a while, if you don't have these pieces in order, you need to go back and rebuild that foundation because it's some cracks in the
yeah,
foundation. And so you have to be prepared in order to win. You
right.
have to be.
Right. And so first of all, again, Dr. Tracy, thank you so very much. That's first. Secondly, um, whether you are an author, whether you're thinking about being an author, um, you have to believe that what you have to say has value. So
Mm-hmm.
there's the mindset piece first. There's that part. Then you absolutely need to take a class. I
Yes,
cannot stress it again. Whether you take it through Black Authors Rock or you take it someplace else, you need to take a
that's right.
class. Because you have to learn the art of how to tell a story, because you have to decide whether it's going to be a fiction story or a nonfiction story or whatever the category is going to be. And then you have to work with someone who is skilled in this industry to take what your idea is and can bring it to life. The
Right.
blessing that I had was that Sheree Robin of Good Ground Lit heard my story, and she said, "Oh, this is not just a story. This is a whole teaching process. You can teach business owners how to win." And she
Yes.
took my story and said, "Oh, we can map this out and do this." And then I had to decide to trust her, to trust the process, and most importantly, to trust myself.
Mm-hmm.
There's that part. So I would tell you that part. Secondly, I would tell you keep reading. You see behind me, there's books. I read
Mm-hmm.
all the time. As a matter of fact, I got 3 books I'm reading simultaneously. I'm reading Get Good with Money,
Mm-hmm.
Tiffany's book. I'm reading Believe It, Jamie Learn. What is her last name? I can't remember her last name, but the book is called Believe It. She's the woman who created the It Cosmetics.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm reading her story, because you have to elevate your thinking, and you have to, there are things, I mean, you might be good with money at this point, but what happens when God blesses you with more? Then you need to know how to handle it at the next level. So
Yes.
I want to, so when I saw Tiffany, is a New York Times
Yes.
bestseller, and she's got this whole thing called the Budgetnista. I'm like, well, I need to be part of the Budgetnista crew. I'm like, let me get this book
Right.
so I can learn some next thing. So as God opens up these opportunities, I mean, I know how to manage money at this level, but as he blesses collective cash and it goes, worldwide, I need to be prepared. So I need to get myself ready. So I would tell you, number one, take a class. Number two, keep reading. Number three, invest in yourself. In order to grow, you have to continually invest in yourself. Whether it's a free webinar, whether it's a paid webinar, whether you get a coach, you have to be doing that. And then you have to trust the process. you
Right.
know I didn't know when I said yes to Dr. Tracy to being a part of Black Authors Rock, what it all was. So I had questions. So that's
Yes.
me. I'm that kid that's be like, look here, I got some questions. I need some answers to my questions. So once I felt secure with that, and then when I saw what she did with the other authors, I was like, okay, and then when she explained to me, well, Dee, you could be on this government, you're going to be on a military base, and then these military bases go all around the world. I was like, and when she showed me how, like, the expansion of how far collected cash can go, I'm like,
Yes.
that was amazing, and that's a gift. But that was because of relationship and because of of me supporting her brand, and her giving me the opportunity, and then her seeing me here. And that's the thing, you have to be mindful of who you are in these social media streets. I'm trying to tell
Yes.
y'all.
Yes.
Because
Because
that's the
people
thing.
watch you.
Oh my gosh. And here's the thing. I totally forgot about Success Women's Conference until you talked about the ambassadors. And I was like, oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't, I totally forgot that. And then now I can see the picture with all the ambassadors, and then it was you, and it was me. And then, then it was Gloria Mayfield Banks, and
Yes.
Cheryl Wood, and Jan Van Zant. And then before that, the last session before when I got involved, it was Robin Roberts and her sisters, and it was
Sister.
Lisa
Mm-hmm.
Nicholas, and somebody else. And then I'm like, so just getting in. You got to get in. You got to, whenever somebody opens up an opportunity for you, say yes. Express your gratitude, learn the lessons, and then keep it moving. So those things I would tell you.
Most definitely. I'm so, so excited. And I cannot wait to see where this relationship brings you and your brand. And I can just see global expansion.
All right,
I see it because
let's
there's
go.
so much money out there and people need to know how to collect it and they need
Hmm.
to know how to properly spend it.
Yeah, yeah. You got to give some, save some, spend some.
There you go. See y'all seeing all these nuggets? I'm gonna need y'all connect with D. How can they connect with you?
Facebook, I'm Dee Bowden. Instagram, D Collects. Best thing to do is go buy the book. Go to
Yes.
www.collectthecash.biz/book. But again, Facebook, I'm Dee Bowden. Instagram, it's D Collects, excuse me. And then LinkedIn, I'm also Dee Bowden. But most importantly, you want to connect with me, go buy the book. www.collectthecash.biz/book. That's to get your signed autograph copy of me, or go to the Black Authors Rock bookstore and buy it there.
Yes, 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 yes. So thank you again for your time. Thank you for this
Absolutely.
interview.
Yes.
I see great work between the both of us in the near future. And again, if you guys are not a part of Black Authors Rock, or if you're not a part of Black Authors Rock Bookstore, you need to do so. Connect with us in the community. Get your book in the bookstore. Secure your slot. Be there. We also have amazing events coming up where these outstanding authors will be speaking, teaching, and expanding. So you better be connected. That's the only way you're going to know. So I love it. I love it. I love it. It's an honor. It's an honor. We have come a long way
We sure
in
have.
these social media streets, and they haven't seen anything yet. I tell
Yeah,
you, I got to
definitely.
go through my phone. Like, okay, these pictures from way back. Hold on,
Yes, right?
to see how we've evolved. Okay, my hair was this color. All right, now my hair is this color. Oh, I didn't have hair on this picture. Hold on,
Well, see, my evolution is going to be how when I was less gray to now I'm almost all gray now. That's been the thing, and then working on my on slimming down just a little bit. And I'll tell you another thing. Take care of your health. Your health.
Yes.
If I could leave you with a gift, take care of your health. Um, we've mentioned COVID a couple of times, so I'm going to say this: if God has allowed you to see life this day, do not take it for granted. Make sure you say thank you because that was a gift. Because there were a lot of people didn't get to have this gift today. So if
That's right.
you've been blessed to have it, say thank you. Take care of your health. Go exercise. Figure out something you like to do. If you're not a gym buddy or a gym person, go outside and walk and drink some
Mhm.
water and decide. That old school stuff.
Simple
Go
as
get your
water.
go get
Yes.
your go get your huh?
Just as simple as water. Just go get you some.
Go get you some water. Get your water. Get outside and walk. Eat your vegetables, do some exercise, get quiet, do some quiet time. But I'm telling you, people ask me all the time, what's your regimen? Well, I have a 30-minute devotions with God every single day. I do a
Mhm.
mask once a week. I'm walking now. I'm drinking more water, and I have gratitude. It's as simple as that. But it's been that, and I've had good genes. My parents are no longer here, but they left me with good genes, and I'm doing my best to take care of them genes. And so because I got more stuff to do. I got to come to Mississippi, and we got
Yes.
global things to do now. We got global stuff to do. So I need to be looking good on these social media streets.
There you go. Yes. I love it. I
Yep.
love it. Yes. Let me know when you come back. I'm so ready. Let's do it.
Yes.
Wow. Oh my goodness. So you guys need to connect with Dee and buy her book, www.collectthecash.biz/book. Also visit us in our Black Office Rock bookstores with an S. And you have one more bookstore. What was that again?
Oh, Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Target, Walmart, and Books a Million.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Oh, I love it. So I love to see people be successful. That's what we're here for. We're all about
Absolutely.
supporting one another. So
Yes.
thank you guys for joining us with Black Authors Rock, and you stay rocking. I'll talk to you soon.
Take care, y'all.
All right.